Hey everyone, Kevin here. I'm a little disappointed. So, you know that bill we heard about, the Emergency Money for the People's Act? That was gonna give, $2,000 to each person, $4,000 for a married couple, and $500 if you had one or two children, and an extra, $1,500 if you had three children. That was on a monthly basis. That was kind of a cool proposal. Well, the same dude who co-sponsored that bill just co-sponsored another bill that I basically think kills the Emergency Money for the People's Act. I'm gonna explain why, because this is a little bit of a weird crossover, but I've got 4 reasons as to why I believe this. Now, maybe this is good for other proposals like the Boost Act with that preloaded debit card or the direct deposits of $2,000 during the crisis and $1,000 afterwards. Maybe this is good for the Rent Cancellation and Mortgage Cancellation Act, but honestly, the Emergency Money for the People's Act was one of the simpler, cleaner, shorter bills. It was a nice bill. Yet now I feel like it's getting screwed into politics. Let me explain what's going on. So, one of the dudes who co-sponsored the Emergency Money for the People's Act, that $2,000 a month proposal in the House, he's a Democrat, okay? It's actually this dude, right here. Kana, that guy. Yeah, all right. He just introduced, in conjunction with a senator, a bill that is called the No Unconstitutional War with North Korea Act of 2020. Let me read you some of the notes here. This is legislation, and I'm going to also explain why this relates to the stimulus. Okay, hold on. This is legislation that bars President Donald Trump from waging an unauthorized armed conflict against North Korea. Now, remember, we've got a few things going on in North Korea right now. Their leader, Kim Jong-un, has left us sort of wondering, where is he? Why did he tear down the hospital he had, and why is he building a bigger one now? Why is his train moving? Is he having a party at the villas at his winter beach? Or is he dying? Or is he dead? Did he have botched heart surgery? Why are the Chinese flying over to check in on him? What's going on with Kim Jong-un? And I guess we should step back one step further and also say, who cares? Well, here's why we care. North Korea sits right between our allies to the south. South Korea, imagine that, and Japan. And right above that, we've got China, who's obviously a big competitor of ours. Remember the whole China trade war last year? Remember how much stock market ups and downs and uncertainty there was in our economy because of the China trade war? Yeah, before this whole thing that came up? Well, imagine now if we lose the biggest buffer in that region, that is, all of a sudden, the leader of North Korea disappears. Now there's something called a power vacuum. Like in Luigi's Mansion, when you vacuum something in, everything goes, kind of absorbs into that area. Basically, it's a political reference to countries wanting to take dominance in the area. Well, basically, if we lose a leader and there's a power struggle in North Korea, you could see China come in from the north, you could see South Korea and our military coming up from the bottom, along with Japanese support, and we're just gonna meet on the parallel and shake hands? Usually not. So in other words, I think we're right to be somewhat concerned about what's going on with Kim Jong-un. And where's our first stimulus check while we're still waiting for our second stimulus check to even be talked about in Congress? Well, in the meantime, we have this bill that says the president must come to Congress before starting a war, period. Now remember, in America, there's something called the War Powers Resolution, sometimes referred to as the War Powers Act, which basically says that the president can attack a foreign country by their own decision. Remember, they're our commander-in-chief for up to 60 days. They must notify Congress within 48 hours of an attack, but the president can, for 60 days, have a war with any country for whatever reason they feel. I mean, there are obviously certain rules they have to follow, right? But essentially, they can go to war while Congress gets their act together in 60 days. It's kind of actually interesting that that law exists because we're kind of all wondering yo, when are y'all gonna decide on stimulus round 2? It's taking a while here. Oh, that's right. You guys aren't coming back to work till next week. Yeah, okay, I get it. The theory is Congress takes time to deliberate and we put power and best power in our president to do the best thing for the country for at least 60 days before Congress can act. All right, we get it. This bill basically says Yeah, no, we don't want that. We don't want the president to have any of that power. Which, look, I'm not here to suggest that's right or that's wrong, but I do want to say 4 things that frustrate me about this. You remember when the United States struck Iran, that is, President Trump struck Iran? There was a lot of excitement over that by Republicans. And what problem do we have in Congress right now? Republicans versus the Democrats on stimulus checks. So guess what the first thing that this new bill here is? Co-sponsored, by the way, by Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Guess what this new bill is? It's a distraction. It is a distraction, and it's a rallying cry for the Republicans to say, you know what? All right, let's debate stuff like this instead of focusing on stimulus. Now, I say this in all of my videos, but I think it's just important to say, I don't care if you're left, right, or center. My goal is to try to give you the most in-the-middle information. I just want to tell you what's going on, and I'm trying to look at this as a real estate investor, because that's what I am. I always try to understand, okay, this is what the seller thinks, this is what the buyer thinks. All right, who's got the upper hand here? And the more we have Democrats coming up with this kind of, in my opinion, this is somewhat of a radical proposal. It has very few co-sponsors at a time when we should be focused on other things. There's not even concrete evidence yet that there are actual issues, or just suspicions. This bill is A, a distraction, B, it hurts credibility and negotiation leverage for Democrats, but it also has the potential of bolstering up Republican demands. Here are the Republicans going, hey, we want legal protections for businesses, and then we're possibly okay with more stimulus for state and local governments, and heck, maybe even more stimulus checks. And here are the Democrats going, well, we're not so sure about those legal protections, but we do want stimulus checks. And now we want to prevent Trump from having war with Korea. And you know what? Now we're going to come up with something else too. Gotta be careful in a negotiation. Like, chill. Like, we've had 30 bills submitted by Democrats on the House as proposals, and like nothing coming from the Senate. This isn't the time to be rocking the boat with these kind of distractions, especially on speculative information. So all of a sudden the negotiation gets much more complicated. Rather than being a negotiation about more stimulus checks, yes or no. It's then turned into more stimulus checks? How about worker protections and liability protections for businesses? Well, I don't know. How about North Korea? Like, what? Well, why is all this stuff being mixed in all at the same time? And without a doubt, if this actually starts gaining traction, what are we going to see more of? Even more volatility and less predictability in the stock market. So again, not trying to take sides here, left, right, or center. I am just shocked that the same person who proposed the $2,000 per month act, who in my opinion, we should be pushing hardcore on those $2,000 per month checks, is now co-sponsoring this, which there's no way this is gonna work with Republicans. I just see this as an outlandish proposal that right now it's just coming at a bad time. Now, sorry if this seems a little ranty. I just wanted to share with you what's happening in Congress. And I'm concerned because I feel like we're starting to see both sides devolve a little bit in terms of not being focused anymore on what we should be focused on. Instead, things like this are happening. And the more we can bring attention to, hello, focus on stimulus, please, I feel like the less distractions there'll be in Congress. So write your senator and then go to the links down below and join me in my awesome programs. Use that coupon code, get your 2 free stocks with Webull, and of course get your quote for life insurance. I think I've probably said that quite often now. Anyway, and I actually got an email, by the way, from somebody's like, oh my gosh, Kevin, now you're asking for donations? You're so greedy, you're asking for donations. I'm like, I replied, I'm like, I'm so sorry. You know, that is a donation link for No Hungry Children. It's a non-profit. I don't get that money. The hungry children get that money. Well, there you have it.